Hey, this is Corey from Fuel Your Photos, and today we are going to be reviewing sunblissphotography.com. So let's go ahead and get started with that. So loading the page up here for the first time. Now I have looked at this website before because Meredith was in the beta membership, and so I've gotten to know her a little bit, but I haven't looked at this recently. It looks like she has updated it, so this is kind of like a new review for me. Okay, so let's go ahead and just start with the basic questions about first impression. So what's the website about? Sunbliss Photography really kind of gives it away that it's about photography. I'm seeing wedding images, see images near the ocean, images of children. So instantly I assume that this is a website of a photographer who does multiple types of photography, families, children, weddings. That's kind of the impression that I get immediately, and babies too, apparently. Let's go ahead to the next question. What service is offered and where? So again, it kind of leads me to believe that there are multiple photography services, and let's see where if we can find where. Adelaide, South Australia. So you do have that listed here. Adelaide newborn down here, and we have Adelaide in the title. So yeah, we can figure out that this is a photographer in Adelaide. What do I expect to happen? So what's the first thing I want to do, and what do I expect to happen? So at this point, I've kind of sat here and looked at the slideshow for just a minute, so it's time to kind of dig in a little bit more. I would want to, I've seen multiple types of work. So let's just say that I'm a client looking for a wedding photographer. And at this point, I would want to see more wedding images. So let's see where I would try to do that. So I see galleries up here, and I can drop that down to weddings. Let's try that and see if I get a wedding gallery. Okay, Adelaide wedding photography, so reaffirming that the location, that's good. Okay, so usually I want to be able to kind of like flip through with some arrows or swipe through images. I think I can probably navigate them down here. Here's a tiny little arrow I can use, but that doesn't take me to the next image. See if there's a next image button anywhere. Doesn't look like I have to click on the thumbnails themselves to navigate. Not the worst thing ever, not my favorite kind of image navigation though. Makes it a little bit tough, and they're still loading. Like I can click on it, it doesn't immediately open. It has a fade that takes a few seconds there. But overall, I can get through this, and then I have a button here or a link here to contact if I want to know more about wedding packages. That would be the next thing that I would want to do. Let's just click on contact and see what happens, because I want to know, okay, well, how much is this going to cost? Well, I'm not getting any information about that. Let's see if I can find anything. Oh, look, here's a pricing link. Let's see if I can find any pricing information there. Okay, so I can quickly see, whenever I see a pricing page, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan for dollar signs or, pound signs or euro signs or whichever currency you're looking for. And here, I'm scanning. I can quickly see that the wedding packages start at $1,200. This information is helpful in letting me know if I want to follow through with that contact. So my suggestion for that would be to put that basic information about the starting price down here, so that I don't have to go searching for it somewhere else. Hey, my wedding packages start at $1,200. If you'd like full details on pricing, go ahead and get in touch and see if I'm available, and I will get back to you as soon as possible with more pricing information. Something like that. Just keep it simple, but don't make them go looking around, because that's the next thing they want to know. After that, I'm going to want to see a couple of things. I need some assurance that you would be a photographer that I would like to work with. So I'm going to look for an about page. Okay, I don't see any about page in the menu. Maybe details about me. Okay, here we go. There's Meredith. Okay, so I can read a little bit. You have a lot here that kind of speaks to newborns and children, which is your main focus. I mean, I can see here you're targeting Adelaide newborn photography, so that's fine. I mean, that's probably exactly what you want to happen. Doesn't really speak to me as my, pretend wedding persona here, but you could potentially add some of that in here. You talk about like why you love capturing children and those memories, but maybe you could also talk about why you enjoy doing wedding photography if that's something that you're trying to target. I think that might be a recent addition for you. I feel like I remember you saying that you started doing weddings again recently. You weren't taking them for a while or something like that. So it could be worth putting a section here to mention that as well. It's tricky trying to speak to multiple clients on the same website. And I don't recommend splitting your websites up in most cases, but it is a little bit tricky to try to make sure that your persona speaks to each type of client and gives them exactly what they're looking for. So you have to be strategic about that and make sure to include something for everyone there. Okay, let's see. Any other notable things I wanted to do? Any notable things I had a hard time doing? So far on desktop, it's been fairly easy. I couldn't find that about page very easily. Had to kind of, go a little bit out of the way to find pricing information. The contact, I'm not a big fan of this Profoto 4 or 5 Ajax contact drop down. It's not my favorite thing. I think it takes too long to load, and I would rather have a contact page. And then the other thing that's missing here is contact information besides the contact form. So I want to have an email address, phone number, and if applicable or if it's possible, I want to have an address as well. And so I don't see any of that information. I didn't see it on the about page. Let's see, go back to the home page and see if you have a phone number. Nope. So the only way to contact you is through a contact form, and I understand why people are doing that, but it's not good for SEO. It's not good for usability. It would be smart to at least have a phone number, and again, I've told people this before, and I'll probably be saying it a lot in these reviews. It would be fine for you to set up a Google number, something where people can even just leave you a voicemail and it sends it to your email and you can get back to them via email. But having a phone number on your page does make you look more like a legit business, and it makes people feel more comfortable that they have that option to call you. And so it works for SEO. It works for the people who are actually looking at your site. It's worth doing. Okay, let's see. Okay, so SEO. Let's go ahead and open up the Moz bar here. All right. Family Photography Adelaide, Sunbliss Photography. Okay with that. Just kind of a minor little thing. I typically like to reverse this on a home page. I'll put the brand first and then the keyword. I know a lot of SEOs talk about doing it the other way around. And we can see, let's do a search here and see what happens. Let's see if you're showing up. I'm going to do a quick search here. Okay, so notice the title here. Whenever I did that search for Family Photography Adelaide, notice how it put your brand name first, colon, and then the keyword that I searched for. Now, if you go back to your title, notice that you have your brand name after the keyword. So Google is rewriting it for you, whether you do it that way or not. And my thought on that is, hey, you might as well do it the way that Google is going to rewrite it anyway. If they're rewriting it that way, it must mean that it is beneficial. People are more likely to click it, and I think that there's some built-in, trust in clicking a link whenever it doesn't just feel like you're trying to pack in keywords, but it feels like it's a real business, and then that the keywords actually match. So I don't think they do those kinds of things lightly. They don't rewrite titles for no reason, and I would say sometimes they won't rewrite it depending on the query, but if it's improving click-through rate, then I would go ahead and rewrite it manually. And I'm making this long explanation out of something that's not a huge deal. Google is really good about rewriting that anyway, but I just wanted that for other people who are watching to also know that that's a thing. I mean, that's why I tell people that, and sometimes people question, well, my other SEO told me that I should be putting my keyword first, and I'm saying, here's why I say this, because Google's going to rewrite it anyway, so why not put it the way that Google prefers? Okay, enough on that. Meta keywords, you don't need to put anything. Having this here isn't going to hurt anything, but it's also not going to help anything. Meta description, specialize in custom newborn children's family photography in Adelaide, South Australia. See if that's what's appearing here. Yeah. So you have a few extra characters. If you wanted to use them, you could. I don't necessarily think you need to. I'm okay with this. What you have is good. It's straightforward, to the point. You don't have anything about weddings. If that's something that you're offering again, you might want to make sure to add that in. So, here your H1 has Adelaide portrait and wedding photography. But I don't see it on the page. I think this is one of those things. I think ProPhoto has a way that they kind of put it behind the logo. I don't have any reason to believe that Google is going to be penalizing that for hiding text, but I also don't prefer that method. But I don't know how to tell you how to change that off the top of my head. I'd have to research it. All right. When I click book your session, is that just the contact form? I think so. Okay, good. Just was curious about that. Okay, so meta description, headings. Again, I would recommend just having that H1 there. It doesn't actually help you so much in search engine optimization as having the text on your page. So the point of an H1 is to be the main point of the page. And if you have it like you do, Adelaide portrait and wedding photography, that's good. But just having it there where you can't see it on the page doesn't actually help. You need to have it in large text at the top of the page. So a lot of studies have been done that say it doesn't really even matter necessarily that it's an H1. It just needs to be large text near the top of the page. That's kind of what actually matters as far as kind of getting that main point across in a heading across the top of the page. Whether it's an H1 or an H2 isn't quite as important, although it does make sense to use an H1 as the main point and then other headings as kind of subpoints. Okay, so body copy, you have some good copy here. It's a little bit short, but much better than a lot of people include, so I'm not going to complain too much about that. Yeah, I think that's good. Alt text, let's see what you have here. Where's the little WordPress stats is usually that little smiley face, but I don't see it appearing down here anywhere. Okay, so you have the alt text at least somewhere on the page. It looks like it's in the logo though. Let's see. Okay, so this is going to be a ProPhoto widget that we cannot add alt text to as far as I know. You may be able to get it in through the WordPress gallery, but I think I've tried that recently and it does not appear in the code even if you add it through the WordPress media library. So on this older version of ProPhoto, there may not be any way that you can get alt text into these images on your home page. Okay, let's look at speed. And we're going to go ahead and look at mobile. This is not going to work as well because this is going to have a mobile version and not a responsive site. Let's just go ahead and check and see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to pause this really quick and pull it up on my phone to see if I can get that connected. Okay, so I have that up on my phone now. And you can see on the phone that it's a little bit hard to see the images in the slideshow just because of the proportions that are being uploaded there. It's long as far as the width and then short as far as the height, and so it has to kind of compress it down into the size on the screen like this. Let's scroll down here. So I'm just not a big fan of ProPhoto 4, ProPhoto 5, and the mobile sites. I just don't love how they work. I mean, it's not the worst thing ever. It's something. You can use it. It's pretty intuitive. I can click on something like Pages. See, I don't like this as far as user experience. There's just a lot here to look at. That's a big list. So say I wanted to look at wedding. I mean, I can't even read all of that one link. I'm clicking it to see what it does. Okay, I think I'm back at the home page. Let's try this one. So if the first time I clicked the one that I couldn't read, and then the second time I clicked the other one, and that looks like it's okay. So this gallery is swipeable on a phone, so much easier to look through the images that way. This contact me button, it is a link, but it doesn't appear to be a link at first on mobile, and when I'm clicking it right now, nothing is happening. So I can't get it to do anything. I'm tapping it. I know you can't really see what I'm doing on my phone, but that's not doing anything. But I can see the contact me button down here. Let's try that. Interesting. So that button doesn't even do anything. I mean, well, it's trying to open it up in a mail app. So someone on mobile who wants to contact you may have an extremely hard time doing that because they can't click the contact button, they can't open the contact form, and the contact button down here in the menu just takes them to an email platform. And you saw on my phone, I don't have one set up. I'm old school like that. I have a Gmail app or the inbox app on my phone, but I don't have it set up to open links in inbox. So I would assume I'm pretty tech savvy and use my devices for a lot of things like that, and I don't have it set up. I would assume that a lot of people probably don't have that set up, and so you're missing a lot of potential contacts if you don't have any other way to contact you. Remember how I said there's no phone number, there's no email address, and on mobile it's almost impossible to figure out how to contact you. Like, I wouldn't even know what to do next because it takes me to that Google you're missing out page, and I just would give up at that point. So I think this is really important for you to solve that problem of making it easy for people to contact you. I think that ultimately, I'm just going to go ahead and move back away from the mobile. Ultimately, you need to think about going ahead and upgrading to either the newer ProPhoto and I think maybe you were asking about this in the other group as well. I can't remember, but I think it's time to go ahead and get this updated. It's just too hard to use this on a mobile site, and especially with the contact issue, I think it's definitely something you need to do. So I think I've been rambling about that for a minute now. I won't go on that anymore. Overall, I think I like the branding that you have going on here. Noticed that the branding was different on mobile. Pull that back up and see. You have the hot air balloon here. It doesn't show up here. I'm not sure if that's just a formatting or spacing issue or if you're getting rid of it. It does show up on some of the other pages. So you might want to work on the consistency there and decide whether that's something you're including or not including. Yep. And so then image selection on this main slider to really showcase exactly what you're trying to sell, and then making that clear. So if you are including weddings and you're going to include detail shots and stuff like that, you need to make sure that people know that you can be booked for weddings, and kind of speak to those wedding clients. And you may even need to separate out some pages for wedding clients. You just need to think about exactly who you're trying to reach and make sure that they know that you're speaking to them, and that each of those types of clients can find exactly what they're looking for when they come to your site. So that's it for the review. If you have questions, of course, you're in all of the Facebook groups, and you can follow up there and ask anything you'd like. You can leave a comment here on YouTube. If anyone else has any questions that relate to your site, or if you want your site reviewed, you can just go to fuelyourphotos.com/reviews, fill out the form there, and it'll add you to my waiting list. About 3 weeks waiting list right now for getting your site reviewed. So go ahead and get on there now before that gets even longer. And of course, subscribe on YouTube. There will be more reviews like this coming. You can watch other people's reviews and hopefully get some insight on photography websites and usability, and kind of get an idea for who's doing what and what kind of things are working well. And at least hear my opinions. My opinions are just my opinions. They're not always, fact. I try to be as factual as possible and cite references whenever appropriate, but ultimately it does come down to my opinion. Although it is an expert opinion, I do look at hundreds and hundreds of photography websites and try to study what's working and what's not. So if you'd like your site reviewed, like I said, just go to fuelyourphotos.com/reviews and fill out that form, and I will be seeing y'all again soon for the next review.